Hey everyone, this week we're going to be revisiting the subject of film photography and talking about some analogue gear I've newly acquired. So if you're a regular viewer to my channel, you might remember around about a million years ago I made a video about film photography, and it's something that I want to get into a little bit more. I said at the time it was quite new to me, it was the first time really that I'd gone out to try it properly, and I am going to get into that a little bit more throughout the year hopefully, and later in this video I'm going to talk about some gear that I've newly acquired. It's been handed down to me, which is going to help out with that I hope, but more of that later. On the evening where I went out in the previous video, I took the Prakticar BC1 camera with me, and I went to a local reservoir. It was sunset time, had some fantastic light. It was a bit of a rush because I was chasing the light as it was going down, but I did manage to get some shots of that sunset over the water, and I also took with me my Z7 and a 50mm Z lens so that we could compare the images between the digital Z7 and the analogue Prakticar. Now it's been a long time since then, but I have finally got the film developed. So what we're going to do today is compare some of the images and see what the differences are between the two and what the quality is like and things like that. So the first image we're going to look at is this one. So we've got the digital shot on the left from the Z7 and the film shot on the right from the Prakticar. And in general I'm fairly pleased with this. I have done some basic editing on this in Lightroom, but not very much at all. It was just a JPEG scan and I wasn't able to pull too much more detail out of it, but I did just lift the shadows slightly and increase the temperature of the white balance. But generally it's come out fairly well. The focus is decent, it's fairly sharp in the foreground to middle ground. We have got a little bit less fidelity in the branches at the top there compared to the digital version. But all in all I can't complain too much with that. I think the colours are slightly better in the digital version as you might expect. But yeah, generally nothing too much to complain about. And I think I could maybe improve that shot by using a graduated ND filter perhaps. So I could use that to just darken the sky a little bit, which would mean that I could use a longer shutter speed just to brighten up some of those shadow areas and bring some more detail out there, but still have the richness in the sky and the colours there. So the next shot we're going to look at is this one, which was taken at the end of a long pier-like structure that goes out into the middle of the reservoir. Between the two, I actually prefer the composition of the film shot from the Prakticar. The digital shot has too much space, I think, between the railings and the tree line, whereas with the film shot you've got just a little bit of water there in between just to break up the railings and the tree line, but it's not so much space that it's not pleasing to the eye. I like how the railings come in from either side, converging towards the focal point, so that kind of draws you into the image a little bit. But with the film shot we've lost a lot of detail in the shadow areas here. You can't really see much in the signage at all, whereas with the digital shot we've got so much more detail in the shadows there. So I probably could have improved this shot again by having a longer shutter speed. Obviously that would have brought more detail into the shadows, but we probably would have lost some detail in the sky. It would have blown that out a little bit. So again, perhaps a graduated filter could have helped there. To be fair, I think the conditions were pretty tough for my first attempts with a film camera. It was low light, I was shooting into the sun, and that's obviously going to cause issues even with a digital camera. So generally, even though it's not a great quality image, I am still fairly pleased for my first attempt. So we'll have a look at the next one now. This was taken a little bit further down from the pier, looking out over the water with the sun going down. It was just going down behind the horizon, and we're leaving the end of golden hour just on the verge of going into blue hour. And I like how that creates a juxtaposition with the colours. You've got the yellow, orange, golden light from the sunset, but the surrounding water and sky is quite nice and blue and purple. And I think this image really benefits from having that strong colour combination, because compositionally it's the weakest of all three. There's not really much in this image to bring any interest. We've got no leading lines, bringing us into the image. We've got no strong subject in the foreground or anywhere really. All we've got is that tree line, and there's one or two birds in the water, but yeah, nothing really strong enough to be a focal point of the image. And I think that highlights the importance of composition with film photography. You're going to get imperfections when compared to digital photography. The cameras are older, the lenses are not quite as good, and you're using an analog format with film which is not quite as precise as digital is. So the only way to compensate or get away with those imperfections is to make sure that your image is compositionally strong enough or visually engaging enough to distract from those elements, basically. But I think that's a good thing because it really forces you to work on the elements of your photography that really matter, the composition and how visually interesting it is. And perhaps when you've got a camera which is so perfect, like the modern digital cameras are, when you get an image which is so crisp and sharp, you can spend all your time obsessing about creating an image which is visually perfect, but perhaps not perfect from a subject matter point of view, if that makes sense. So I really think there are some benefits to film photography and ways in which it can help you improve your photography. So I am looking forward to getting stuck into it a little bit more. And like I said, I have acquired some new gear recently. This camera here was handed down to me by my father-in-law. It's from 1973, when it was first released, I believe. It's a Minolta SRT 303 camera. But it's been really well looked after and it's in great condition. So vielen Dank Heinz for giving me this, along with a great range of lenses. I've got a 50mm, a 28mm, there's a 200mm in there, and all kinds of flashes and filters and things. So can't wait to get out and use this at some point. So a couple of key features of this camera. Firstly, the metering. It's a through the lens metering system. And back in 1973 when this was released, it was the world's first matrix metering system. And crucially, it allows you to use that system at a maximum aperture, whereas some of the cameras at the time, you had to stop them down to a narrow aperture to get that meter reading. And you could also see everything on your viewfinder really well. And the viewfinder itself is another feature, because it's got more information on there than a lot of other cameras at the time, such as your shutter speed, etc. So you didn't have to take the camera away from your eye to be able to see what all your settings were, which meant that you could spend more time focusing on getting your shots than worrying about the technical aspects of controlling the camera and things. So just some final thoughts then on film photography and what I've learned so far. Like I said, I think composition is so important with film photography. I mean, it's important as well with digital, don't get me wrong, but you really can't rely on that technical aspect like you can with digital. So you're going to have to really work that much harder with film photography, with composition and your subject, and making your image really engaging. So I'm really hoping that it's going to improve my skills in those areas. And you really don't realise just how few shots you've got with a roll of film until you go out and start shooting with it. I know it sounds obvious, but compared to digital, you really have got to save those shots for the right moment, and you've really got to work on the right shot because you can't afford to waste any. And not being able to see your image on the back of the camera makes it all the more difficult and all the more important that you really do make the most of each and every shot. But there really is a great quality to film photography, I think. And it's a little bit like people who like vinyl records compared to digital music. Yeah, you don't get that really hi-fi quality that you do with digital, but there is something in vinyl records. You get that warmth and it's a different quality to the sound, and people really like that. And it's the same, I think, with film photography. I can see why people want to go out and shoot with film, because there's a quality to the images that you just don't get with digital. It is a little bit fuzzy around the edges sometimes, it's not quite as perfect, but there's something about it, there's a charm to it. And yeah, you could try and emulate that with digital using filters and presets and post-processing, but it's not going to be as fun as going out and shooting with film, and it's also going to be much more easy to go out and shoot with film than it is to spend ages editing all your images to look that way. But that's about it for this video, so thanks a lot for watching again everyone, really do appreciate it. And if you are new to the channel and you're not yet subscribed and you'd like to do so, you can click down here on the big red button or over here on this picture of me, and that way you'll stay up to date with everything I'm doing each and every week. There's a new video every Sunday morning at 10 AM UK time. So I hope you'll join me next week for the next one. And until then, thanks a lot everyone, and bye for now.